Well, this is Baruch here, and you see that I have before me the Jewish astrology of cosmic science. Torah, Talmud, and Zohar works on spiritual astrology, and who wrote this book? None other than the great Yaakov Kronenberg. Now, Yaakov Kronenberg is about Tshuva from, I think, from Long Island. He moved to Israel at a certain time in his youth, raised a family there, and in the meantime was able to produce this tremendous work. Now, this work is not small. I mean, it's there's a lot going on here. And in different places, he gets into Sefer Yetzirah and some different kinds of aspects that he had seen before, which are actually ideas that are really expounded by physicists. But he's very interested in that kind of that kind of analysis. So here we are. I'm trying to figure out 1 second where we're holding, and I'm just going to put this on pause for a minute. Came over here to page 14, and I want to remind you that this book is available. Let me see if I can get it up high enough so you can see 14. It's available on Amazon. Some of this book is not for beginners, but I would say it's all worthwhile. There's a famous Chassam Sofer, he writes. Chassam Sofer is a great rabbi who lived in the 1800s, one of the greatest rabbis of Europe in that period. His writings are extensively quoted today, and this is something that he wrote. He wrote this: all 6,000 years of time, according to the Jews, that this is the year 5,783. And according to the Gaon and all the great Kabbalists, we have approximately 217 years for the world as we know it to continue. All 6,000 years of time had different kinds of planetary influences. And if you look at Western astrology, they use the Talmudic model. That fund was born on the idea that there are days and there are hours. Now, you have to understand that the concept of 7-day week, the 24-hour day, that just didn't pop up out of nowhere. There are 7 days a week and 24 hours a day, and each day has different planet ruling it. And there is a day ruler, and there's a night ruler, and there are hourly rulers too. Now let's get over the idea of what we're talking about, the word ruler, because every subject that we learn has different language that applies. It means the source of the power. So the source of the power is that it's say that the energy which is coming through the planet and then is manifest towards us, that can be quantified. So he says here we have day rulers, night rulers, and there are hourly rulers too. Now they built a model on this, and the Kabbalah explains it. Judaism holds that there are 6,000 years to the world, and each 1,000-year period is ruled by a different planet. Now, once again, the word ruled, it means that doesn't mean that the planet, and this is a big machalech, a big difference between the way the Jews look at everything and the way that, say, for example, Indian astrology looks at things. It's not that the astrology is different or the planets are different. What is different is that Hashem is the ultimate mover of all things. So the source of the energy is actually from the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, but filtered down through different veils. And so each planet has a different planet that rules it. That rule it means that controls, or that's the I guess the best way to say that is the channel that is in charge of bringing the Shefa, the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, to us. And there are 50-year cycles. So we said, now we start getting into the concept of cycles, which we mentioned before. If you read in the Torah, there's a concept which is called Yovel. It's a 50-year cycle. And then there's 7-year cycle, which is called the Shemitah cycle. And then there's the monthly cycles, which are called the Chodsh, the Chodosha, the Chodshim, or the months. Chodesh, Chodoshim, I guess that's the right word to say. Then there are daily cycles, because look, we have 24 hours in a day. That's a cycle, that's a circle. But then within that, there are hours. Within that, each hour is a circle as well, cycles and circles for each minute. So he says, so time has different influences embedded into it. This looks to me as a whole second system of astrology. Now, he had mentioned the first one, but I skipped through it, and I just wanted to bring that idea out. And we will see in depth when we study further the letter of Rabbi Avraham Bachia and other Kabbalah writings. So he says, so there are two different systems of astrology in Judaism. Now let's see how clearly this comes out. The first system is based on fixed time energy. Now let's get these words together, because you could see how this study gets closer and closer to some concept that you find in physics. The first system is based on the fixed time energy set at the time of creation, which is embedded into all future time, each unit with a certain set of characteristics. Now let me see this again. Let me say it again. It's a fixed time energy. Time is a creation. Time is not an absolute. So therefore, time is really, the importance of time has to do with the importance of our lives. We live only so long, so time is very important to us. So in the system that we live in, is that every day is a new day and every moment is a new moment, that we see that the fixed time is part of that cycle. So set at the time of creation, and which is embedded into all future time, each unit with a certain set of characteristics. They can be based on fixed hourly planet influence or fixed day influence as set at creation, and include the even, odd, fixed time element. So there are even days, odd days. We see this in different places. And what Rabbi Yaakov is bringing us here is different ideas that we need to know in astrology to be able to understand the pattern of cycles of the world in which we live in. Now, yesterday in the Shir, I mentioned that the Kabbalists refer to this world as the world of wheels. So wheels mean cycles. So we are constantly in that state. He said the second system is based on the actual planetary positions at the moment in question, is used broadly speaking in Western astrology today. So this is what he's been talking about, that if you knew where the planets were and the influences that are passed from the Ein Sof Baruch Hu through the planets, then we can understand what's going on. So he says, so one should check if different cycles are good for him. If he wants to delay something, he wants to start something. So he says, let me skip down a little bit. He said astrology is similar to what doctors do. Doctors tell you what is good or bad for you to eat, while astrologers tell you, according to the stars and planet, what is the right time and what is a bad time to do anything. If there will be food before you food that you desire to eat, the doctor will say to you, don't eat it because it's bad for people of your age group. Heed his words, don't eat. It means that astrologers have a similar objective to doctors, and one should follow their advice. Astrology is the study of time and the cycles. I am adding the word cycles, and doctors study our bodies. The main argument is that you are allowed to help people, and just as like a doctor can help people, so can astrology. So he said we should all be cautious in life and take care of ourselves. Let me see if I think we got this out of sync here a little bit. So he says we should all be cautious in life, take care of ourselves to stay out of danger, and take advantage of opportunities and take advice about what is good time for you and what is a dangerous time for you. Those are things that could be promoted by astrologers. Now, just one word, as I said before, as we start, we're going to get to the first chapter, and this is that my approach to astrology would not be the same as Rabbi Yaakov's, because Rabbi Yaakov is really an astrologer. You could really go to him, and he could give you some ideas about where you are in the cosmos at any particular time and place. In my case, I'm really interested in the psychological effect of the midos that are also part of the transfer of the light through the planets from the Ein Sof Baruch Hu to us. This is Baruch Fleischman here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel.